Good morrow, lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard for Laura Watson's 13 Days of Vlogoween.
As I said in my intro, this is a Vlogoween video. More specifically, today I'm going to be talking about how I survived Camp Crystal Lake. To be more specific, I'm going to be talking about my trip up to Camp Nobibosco and all the cool things that came with it. So without further delay, let's get started. First off, Camp Nobibosco, in case you don't know, is the camp where they filmed the original Friday the 13th Part 1. For my birthday, May 2021, Sarah and I traveled up to New Jersey to Camp Nobibosco for their Camp Crystal Lake tour. This is a film set tour, and they do for a year normally, so I will post down below the link to where you can sign up to do this tour because it was so much fun. I actually first heard about this camp because of Spencer from Ice 9 Kills. And I also watched a video by Tampa J. I'll link that video down below where he went through the camp because his experience is going to be different than mine, mostly because of the times that we went. I heard about this tour from Spencer Charnas of Ice 9 Kills, and then I also watched the video that Tampa J did on his experience with Camp Crystal Lake tours, which I will link down below in case you want to see it. But because Spencer spoke so highly of the Camp Crystal Lake tours, I knew I had to go see it. The night before we went, I showed Sarah Friday the 13th Part 1 for the very first time, and it was the first Friday the 13th movie she'd ever seen. So, you know, that was absolutely thrilling for me to be able to show someone a film for the first time. Like, I love it. I always love it. I also showed her Idle Hands for the first time and Scream for the first time. It's been amazing. I can't wait for us to watch more things. I think the next one we're going to watch together is Trick or Treat. But anywho, for my birthday, we went to Camp Crystal Lake, and these are tours, they're film set tours, and it's just fantastic. If you do plan on going on this tour, watch Part 1 before you go, so that it's fresh in your brain what everything is, because you'll be looking at a cabin, and the tour guide will explain, like, this was this cabin, and you'll know, it'll click with you because you're seeing it. So I did take some clips. They don't like for you to film the guides, so I didn't do that, but I did film some of the, so you can see the different plot points laid out. So when you first arrive, it's that really cool camp aesthetic, and I love the camp aesthetic. I was archery certified at a Girl Scout camp in Florida. I like the camp aesthetic. I was allergic to everything in Florida, but I was archery certified at a camp. The camp aesthetic is nice, it just doesn't agree with my allergies. So when we arrived, it was pouring down rain.
Hi! Thank you! Yeah, go for it.
Much like it is in the Part 1 film. So that just added to the authenticity of it all. The rain did let up about the time that we started the tour, so it wasn't so bad, but it was pouring down rain when we got there. So they take you to the mess hall, which is like the open cafeteria, and they had it set up like the opening scene where they're sitting around the fire and they're singing. But before we could even acknowledge any of that, we had to sign a waiver, and they gave us a couple of things to get us started. They gave us 80% Camp Crystal Lake hand sanitizer. And then they also gave us these. This is a water bottle, and it also has a hook for your belt. And then you actually fill it through the big opening. And it is insulated, so when you put cold water in it, it stays cold all day long. They supplied different drinks. They had sweet tea, they had lemonade, and they had water. They may have had a couple of other things too, but those are the ones I remember. And we filled our cups up, and it stayed cold the whole time, and it was amazing. And believe me when I say we needed it, because it is a lot of walking. A lot of walking. We also got souvenir tickets. The Crystal Lake Tours logo It also says drowning in fun from dusk till dawn, with this scene over the lake, which we see a lot, especially near the end of the film and when they're playing in the water. They also gave us this little pamphlet that tells you all of the rules for the tour, and it also included the things that they offer in the gift shop. The most popular item from the gift shop was actually water from Camp Crystal Lake, and you could either fill it yourself or you could purchase the pre-filled bottles. I didn't do that because buying a vial of swamp water did seem a little silly, but it's a cool concept. Let me show you the lanyard, and then I'll show you the clothing items that I got from the tour. So this is the lanyard for the spring tour. It has the Jeep on it. This is the replica Jeep that looks like the Jeep used in the original movie, and some cast members have signed the back of it. The lanyards are different depending on what season you go. I'd actually love to go each season that I missed, so summer, fall, and winter, and get the others, but you could also just purchase them if you wanted to, but I feel like that's cheating. Let me show you some of the other items that I got. So I got this little notebook. It just says Camp Crystal Lake Tours, and it's a highlighter yellow, so it's easy to find, but I thought it would be really handy. I thought this would be really cool to take on like trips or something to just write in, and it does have a really cool little case on the back, which I think is convenient and should be on all notebooks. So now let's talk about the cozy things. I got this really cute hoodie that's super soft, and it says Crystal Lake Tours on it. I love the contrast of like the stark white string with the black hoodie, and it does have a front pocket, which is super important for hoodies. Next is, I think, my favorite item, and that is a sweatshirt. Sweatshirt says Camp Crystal Lake, established 1935, and it's such a pretty like forest green color, and again, it's super soft. You were given a wristband that says the time you were there, which ironically was the anniversary of the release date of the first film. And then the last item was something that I just thought was really cool. This bag, the size of a small duffel bag, that says Camp Crystal Lake on it, but it's one of those bags where you can load it up. It's literally the length of my arm, and it's about a foot wide, and you can just load it up with everything you need for a small camping trip. Then you can cinch it up and buckle it. A really efficient backpack. I know when Jason and I would go caving, that's the kind of backpack that he would take. So after 6 months of sitting in the bag, oh, I didn't show you the bag. And you also got this reusable bag when you bought something. And then to carry any items in, you would get a reusable bag. So now, after 6 months of sitting in a bag, I can finally take those sweatshirts out and wear them. I didn't want to separate anything because I was afraid I would forget to show you something, so I just kept everything in that bag since May. Another pamphlet that we got was this one, and it shows all of the different locations, so you can easily find your way around and find the different filming locations that aren't on camp property. So let me tell you a little bit about what we saw. Once you sign your waiver, you get your free things, you get your swag, then you are touring the site. They separated us into individual groups, and our tour guide was absolutely amazing. He was fantastic, like just the best. Made us giggle, really knew his stuff, and made the whole day enjoyable. So first we see the mess hall area. We get a brief breakdown of the Boy Scout camp and Camp Novi Bosco in general, and we learn that any of the tour proceeds go towards helping better the camp. So any money raised will go towards rebuilding buildings, doing repairs, making the campers' experience a better experience. So it just makes you feel good to know that the money that you spent on the tour goes towards something so fantastic. So from the mess hall area, we went over to the barns, and the barns are where the first couple are discovered and killed. But it was just so surreal because it looked exactly like it looks in the film. Like turning the corner and going up the stairway, like the stairway looks the same still. And then you go upstairs and the little attic area and the little loft area looks the same. Once we saw the loft, we moved over to a field, saw some different areas there, and then we started the journey. The journey to the archery range, which Sarah and I both are archery certified, so we were really thrilled to see that. And the tour guide got a kick out of us because we were talking about how in the film they don't really follow the archery protocols. They're just goofing around in the archery range. We played archery teacher at the archery range. They did have photo ops, and one of the photo ops was looking shocked because the arrow was in front of you. Love photo ops. But this was the moment where we discovered that we would not survive in Friday the 13th. Why? Because it was uphill in the dirt and rock and mud to the archery range. Uphill. And then when we went back down, it was even worse because it was over rocks. We actually didn't go back the way we came. We went towards the other end of camp where more things were. The archery range was probably my favorite location that we saw. And I think we spent the majority of our time there as well because we shared stories, we answered trivia questions, things like that. Like, it was just a really fun time. But we moved from there and we moved down towards Crystal Lake. And the whole view is just mind-blowing. It's beautiful. The whole lake is gorgeous. The lake looks so deep everywhere because it's fed from swamp water, and it was actually elevated that day because they'd had a lot of rain and they have a beaver problem, more prevalent than it normally is, which just added to the creep factor. But from the archery range, we went down towards the lake. We actually stopped where we could see the canoe.
Nice. Creepy.
They'd put a canoe out on the water to emulate the scene where Ari Lehman comes out of the water at the end. He talked a little bit about Ari Lehman and how sometimes he does come to the events, which would have been so cool. Like, I would have loved to gone when Ari Lehman was a guest, just because he is the first Jason. The visual of the canoe floating in the water was just breathtaking. Breathtaking is the word for it. Gorgeous is another word for it. It was amazing. Once we all ogled at that for way too long, we shifted down the path towards what was the restroom area in the film. So this would have been the bathroom that Marcy went into. After the Kevin Bacon scene, we see Marcy in the restroom. The bathroom area is no longer like a bathroom area, but the stalls are still there and it's super creepy. I'm sure you'll see in the video, but they do have like one sink left, and they did have her raincoat hanging up and miscellaneous props. They did add some props into different locations to just sort of give you the vibe of the film.
Look. I love it. Look, it's the yellow jacket.
I know. They also had pictures in some locations, which was really nice because you could easily put the picture with the location and then play the scene in your head. And we were able to spend as much time in any place as we wanted to. This was like the central portion of the camp. This is where most of the things are. After that cabin, we went up the hill. We saw the Kevin Bacon cabin. They actually showed us the bunk and how they had the practical effects artist underneath him with the arrow, and how there were like basically 3 men under this one bunk because of course Kevin Bacon was under the bunk and there was a fake body on top of the bunk.
I can't imagine doing pops like that.
Huh?
Having 2 grown men under the bed, 3 grown men.
Wow. Sarah, go stand over there just so I can get a height idea. You couldn't even fit under there.
No.
From there we went to the snake cabin. They had a rubber snake for us to pretend like we were attacking the snake that was in the cabin. That was one where a lot of people were enjoying that scene. I didn't enjoy that scene because I don't enjoy that scene in the movie. And he told the factoid that I knew before going, that I won't spoil for you if you don't know it because it's kind of sad, but I just don't like that scene. So I didn't spend a lot of time in that area, but I did film it. So here's that clip.
There it is.
I don't do fake snakes. I don't do real snakes.
Like on the real snakes, don't do fake snakes.
So from there we went off to the right, and to the right is the flagpole and the canoe launches and just like the general beach area where the final fight happens and where the kids are playing on the beach earlier in the movie. That's the area that we were at.
You just don't know how to do it.
It's actually pretty much in front of the main cabin, and the other cabins surround that as well. So all of those buildings are close. So if Brenda actually ran from the main cabin to the archery range, she ran a long ways in that nightgown in the rain and uphill, and it was a slippery slope, and I can't fathom it. I can't fathom how that was a thing. So for the sake of cinematic justice, we're just going to say that the archery range in the film was closer than it actually was. We got to enjoy the view, that view that I showed you from the ticket. We actually got to see that, and it was right at sunset. They actually say they play the film there sometimes and cast it out over the lake, which is amazing. We also got to see the generator shed. There's nothing inside of it, but we got to see the shed on the outside, and they had an arrow sticking in the wall, so you could pretend like you were the one plugged up on the door.
Give me a scream.
So then we saw the main cabin. And the main cabin was really cool. They had it set up with the Monopoly game, just like in the film where they played strip Monopoly.
So this is where the camp was done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's like the stove thing.
Alright.
And then we got to see the back room, which was like the kitchen pantry area in the film, but you could tell it was the location. And then we just kind of stood around and talked to the guide for a while and just enjoyed hearing about different things. He took us to a location that actually had burned down. At the beginning, when the new camp owner is trying to put the gutter up, that building is no longer there. They're trying to rebuild it, and if they get enough money from the tours, they'll rebuild it, and then we'll have a replica of that building. They said they would do the photo op of trying to put the gutter up. So another great photo op opportunity if and when they actually do get to rebuild that. That was pretty much the last thing that we saw. We did get to take a picture with the original sign, the sign that's hanging in the film. They had it there, and when it stopped raining, we got to take a picture with it. And then they also had the replica Jeep that the cast has signed on the back. They had restrooms attached to the gift shop, and they of course had the gift shop. So in case you were wondering what I actually did for my birthday this year, since I only filmed a makeup video for my birthday video, I was at Camp Crystal Lake. It was a nice little getaway. We stayed in Pennsylvania. I don't know, it was just a really quick but fun trip, and we really enjoyed ourselves. This video originally was supposed to be me and Sarah telling you about Camp Crystal Lake. However, Sarah is feeling under the weather, so if you want to say get well soon, Sarah, down in the comments, that would be greatly appreciated, because we want her well very, very soon. So this was me discussing my birthday trip to Camp Nubby Bosco, also known as Camp Crystal Lake, also known as Camp Blood. I had a fantastic time. If you're anywhere near the Jersey area, I suggest going. The tours are awesome. They're amazing. The rain added to the atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be great in the fall or the winter or the summer, but I did the spring tour and it was fantastic. An amazing birthday present, so thank you, Sarah. So for the comments down below, I want you to tell me what your favorite Friday the 13th movie is. People always laugh at me for saying this. Mine is 6. I do not love Friday the 13th Part 7, but all the others are amazing. I love them. 7? No. The rest of them? Yes. And I also love the Jared Padalecki movie, because I was actually discussing this with a guy that I work with that's also a big horror movie buff. I like the Jared Padalecki one because it shows like a more human side to Jason, and it shows like how he gets around the camp without just like teleporting. It's more realistic, and I really liked that. So yeah, tell me what your favorite Friday the 13th movie is. And if you don't talk to me about that, just talk to me about something, because I'd love for you to talk to me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye!